The night sky over Terra Nova was no longer a night sky. What once was an endless stretch of stars and serenity had become a suffocating ceiling of warships. The Grand Coalition, an assembly of 6 of the most dominant alien empires in the galaxy, had encircled the last human colony. Their fleet blotted out the heavens, a show of overwhelming force meant to crush the morale of the defenders before the first shot was even fired. Inside the fortified command center, the last human leaders stood around a flickering holographic table. General Marcus Reeve, a grizzled veteran with a face marked by old scars and fresh determination, stared at the incoming enemy formations. "The ultimatum just came in," Captain Amelia Voss announced as she slammed a datapad onto the table. "Total surrender. Disarm, submit, and humanity will be integrated into the Grand Coalition. Refuse, and they glass the planet." A low murmur ran through the room. Some of the younger officers looked uneasy, but Reeve remained unmoved. He leaned forward, knuckles pressing against the cold metal table. "They expect us to break," he said, voice cold as steel. "They think this is where humanity dies. They think we're out of time, out of options." Dr. Elias Coven, the head scientist of Terra Nova, adjusted his glasses and smirked. "Funny. Because I'd say we've never been more prepared." The room fell silent as all eyes turned to him. "What do you mean?" asked Amelia. Coven tapped the console, bringing up a new projection. A series of schematics, energy readings, and classified weapon deployments flashed across the screen. "They think we're just a handful of survivors clinging to the last rock in space. But what they don't know, is what we've built beneath the surface." The Grand Coalition's command ship, Eminence of Order, hung in orbit, its massive form dwarfing even the largest human warships. Inside, Supreme Arbiter Vornix, a towering reptilian of the Drakari Dominion, stood before a council of alien warlords. "The humans will comply," Vornix growled. "They are cut off, outgunned, and exhausted. This war is over." A Yalthine diplomat, a species of pale-skinned, insectoid tacticians, clicked its mandibles. Yet they do not respond. "This concerns me." The room rippled with laughter from various species. The mere idea that the humans could resist seemed absurd to them. The hulking form of a Zarkothian general, a brutish creature covered in bio-armor, let out a guttural chuckle. "Let them cower in silence. If they do not submit by the next cycle, we incinerate their world. Their history ends with a whisper, not a battle." But then, a single transmission interrupted the council. A live feed. General Marcus Reeve appeared on their screens, standing before the tattered but still flying flag of humanity. His face was unreadable, but his eyes carried something that made the council uneasy. "This is General Reeve of Terra Nova," he began. "To the so-called Grand Coalition, I have one message." The room leaned in. "Surrender is not in our nature." The silence that followed was deafening. Reeve took a step forward. "You sit in your ships, high above, believing you have already won. You believe you understand humanity, that we are weak, broken, finished." He exhaled, his breath steady. "You are wrong." Dr. Coven stepped into view, pressing a button on his datapad. Across the battlefield, the ground itself trembled. Hidden bunkers erupted open, revealing colossal war mechs powered by bleeding-edge human engineering. Energy shields rippled across the city. Long-range cannons, hidden for decades beneath the planet's surface, emerged from the rubble, locking onto enemy battleships. But the true horror for the aliens wasn't just the weapons. It was the fact that every single human on Terra Nova, soldiers, scientists, Civilians stood armed, ready, fearless. "This isn't a last stand," Reeve said, his voice like a hammer striking an anvil. "This is one more victory." Panic spread through the alien ranks as Terra Nova's defenses came online. Coalition warships, once confident in their overwhelming numbers, now found themselves being systematically annihilated by weapons they had never seen before. The humans fought like demons. Soldiers moved in synchronized formations, mechs crushed enemy assault teams, and experimental EMP bursts shut down entire alien battalions before they could even fire. On board the Eminence of Order, Vornix watched in horror as the battle unfolded. "They were never out of options," the Yalthine diplomat whispered in disbelief. Vornix clenched his claws. "We underestimated them." Amelia Voss, leading a strike team, breached one of the coalition's command ships. As she gunned down an enemy officer, she activated her comms. "Reeve, we've taken the bridge. The enemy's command chain is collapsing." Reeve smirked. "Good. Let's end this." Terra Nova's flagship, the Iron Resolve, fired its main cannon. A brilliant surge of energy cut through the Eminence of Order, splitting the once mighty vessel in two. The Grand Coalition's forces, leaderless and in disarray, scrambled to escape the system. The battle was over. Terra Nova had won. On the shattered remains of the alien command ship, Amelia found a wounded Vornix gasping for breath. She crouched beside him, gripping her rifle. You should not exist," Vornix rasped. Amelia tilted her head, then smirked. "Yet here we are." She stood, turned her back on the dying warlord, and activated her comms. "General, we're done here." From the skies, the once mighty fleet of the Grand Coalition was in full retreat. Reeve watched them go, then turned to his people. The last colony. The survivors. The ones who had stood when all odds were against them. He raised his fist. "Let the galaxy remember this day." His voice rang through the air, undeniable, unbreakable. "Humanity doesn't fall. Humanity rises." And the cheers of the last human colony shook the stars.